What is love to you? Is it a state of temporary psychosis, as defined by Sigmund Freud? A state that defies rational explanation and that you fall into if you're lucky? Or is love a conscious choice, something that requires effort and dedication to maintain? What if the answer lies in both extremes, as well as all the shades in between? Love can be as romantic as you desire to experience it, but it can also free fall into an ordinary and lackluster state that catches you off guard. The truth is, love is a delicate ecosystem that demands your utmost care and attention. In this video, I will talk about the 9 pitfalls to avoid in the love ecosystem. Recognize that these are not just challenges, but opportunities for our personal growth and transformation. These insights are derived not only from my romantic relationships in the past and the intricate connections that we all share with our families, but also from my past unhealthy marriage that left me shattered, and now the deeply fulfilling relationships that I have established with my blended family. Through numerous heartbreaks, confronting my darkest fears, and enduring epic failures, I have come to understand that the most challenging relationship we all have is the one that we cultivate with ourselves. Let's dive into the 9 pitfalls to avoid in the love ecosystem. Neglecting communication. The lack of communication is the silent killer in the love ecosystem. When you fail to communicate and express yourself openly and honestly, misunderstandings thrive, trust breaks down, and the foundation of love crumbles. It often only takes a couple of misunderstandings to start chipping away all that trust that you have built over the months and years. It is a domino effect. So before it gets worse, set aside your pride and your fear and take the initiative to reach out and have an honest dialogue with your loved one to address issues. Put everything under the sun and above board, whether it is dealing with your other half, your parent, or your kid. Remember that honesty is often the best policy. Let's face it, it is pretty exhausting to lie because you have to keep forming a new lie to support the earlier one, which means you have to remember every single layer of it and to be able to recall it next time this issue comes up again in the next 6 months or 6 years. So don't put yourself in that situation. It is much easier to have a candid conversation, but understand that a dialogue is a two-way street. Be realistic about what you can achieve because the other side needs to want to open up as well for this to have any impact. Seeking perfection. We often fall victim to the illusion of perfection, don't we? We place unrealistic expectations on our partners, kids, families, and friends, setting ourselves up for disappointment. We all know that perfection doesn't exist, so don't be delusional and expect your other half to be like the main characters in Korean fantasy dramas, where the guys are always good looking, they never age, they are loyal to a fault, super smart, insanely rich, and for some reason their love for you and just for you lasts infinite lifetimes. It doesn't happen in real life. Same for your kids. Don't expect them to be respectful, kind, responsible, academically smart, artistically gifted, and an all-round athlete who is always in a good mood even during the teenage years. Stop dreaming. Same for your parents who did the best they could when they were young, but likely also made mistakes and aren't perfect because no one is. Do you notice how we love bloopers at the end of the movies? Imperfections can be beautiful, entertaining, annoying, and frustrating all at the same time. But they're also what makes us human and makes the world interesting. So learn to see imperfections in another light and accept your loved ones as they are. Taking love for granted. It's easy to overlook the beauty and value of our partners as time passes. And so we start to take the love for granted. Let's remind ourselves that love is not a limitless resource and it is always about give and take. It is just like a garden. It's dependent upon how much care and attention you give it. When you constantly forget to appreciate and show gratitude for the small acts of love, the efforts, and the kindness that your loved ones bring into your life, you starve love of the oxygen it needs to flourish. You might not feel it in the first few years, but everything compounds in life. Remember that your loved one makes a conscious choice to stay and love you every day. Make that choice an easy one for them. Be mindful of the efforts that your loved ones make. Express gratitude by saying thank thank you. Give them a call, a sweet text message, a kiss, a hug. Surprise them with a small gift. Take them out to lunch and go on vacations together. Remind each other of the love that binds us together in the first place. Life is always about the little things that you do. Do them often. Allowing fear to rule. Fear can paralyze growth in the love ecosystem. Perhaps you're afraid to open up and share your inner thoughts or the ugly truth with your loved one because you don't want to be judged or rejected, or you avoid taking risks or making major changes in your relationships because you're scared of the consequences or the uncertainty that the future will bring. My friend, don't ignore your inner voice because it is time to face your fears. Your safety, well-being, and happiness always come first. If your relationship with your loved one is not giving you these things, which is pretty basic, then why are you in this relationship? Have an honest conversation and address it with your loved one. If it doesn't work out after trying a few times, or a conversation is just not possible because the relationship is abusive, walk away before things get worse. I made the hardest and also the best decision to walk away from a dysfunctional marriage that gave me the darkest years of my life. I wish I believed in the signs I saw earlier and had the courage to walk away from the relationship sooner. But if I can do it, you can do it too. There is always hope. As the author Caitlin Dion says, you will rise from the ashes, but the burning comes first. For this part, darling, you must be brave. Holding on to resentment. Resentment often builds over the years. The more expectations you have for your loved ones, the deeper the resentment. When we hold on to grudges and refuse to forgive, we allow bitterness to consume our hearts. I know forgiveness is much easier said than done, but let's not forget that letting go of hard feelings is self-care. It is for your inner peace and no one else's. So it is your decision to release that resentment that has been rotting inside you. See it as a piece of emotional toxic wasteland. It doesn't uplift you in any way. So stop nurturing it. Detach yourself from that piece of emotional wasteland, acknowledge it, soften the edges around it by removing the fences. Have the sun shine its light on it and let that wasteland transform into a more useful space. If the grass doesn't grow, then learn to live with it. Plant trees around it and just let time take care of it. We all have emotional wastelands or scars. Understand that they can be a powerful source of strength because your scars are also reminders that you have made it out alive, stronger, better, and thriving. Losing sight of self. In the love ecosystem, it is easy to lose sight of ourselves in the pursuit of the relationship, whether it is romantic, parental, or love between friends. We often forget that love blossoms when two whole individuals come together, not when one dominates the other. Love is not ownership, so always bring something to the table because that's what makes you unique and valuable and so deserving of love. Cherish and be proud of your identity, your beliefs, your passion, your voice, and maintain your healthy sense of self because you are always part of the equation in any relationship. Don't eclipse yourself. Make your loved ones see, acknowledge, and appreciate your tangible and intangible contributions. Understand that in reality, the effort or contribution from you or your loved one will not always be 50-50. It is never 50-50 because sometimes your loved one only has 10 and so you bring in the 90. Or if you're in the valley and can only table 20, your loved one should step up to 80, but your part of the equation should not be constantly 0. If that's the case, it is time for a conversation because that either means your loved one doesn't need or doesn't appreciate your qualities, or you're not comfortable showing your authentic self. This is not love and there's no relationship because there's only one party involved. Neglecting self-care. Self-care is the nourishment that sustains us within the love ecosystem, but we often neglect ourselves in the pursuit of pleasing and caring for others. This can be especially true if you work as a professional with very demanding hours, or if you're a working parent. You run around like a madman trying to do everything, waking up at 6 a.m., making breakfast, dress the kids, drop them off, go to work and slay the day, fend off the politics at work while getting things done to a high level of standard, pick up the kids, make dinner, be fully present at the dining table, play time with the kids, put them to bed, and if you're lucky, they sleep before 10 p.m. Then you do the dishes, spend time with your other half, and it's a blessing if you can unwind at 11:30 so you can shower and read a book, and before you know it, you doze off to sleep at 12:30 a.m. and the next day it repeats. No wonder you're always depleted. Always prioritize self-care regularly by honoring your own needs and replenishing your soul first so you can show up as your best self for your loved ones, not your leftover self. Do a time audit and see which activity takes up most of your time and consider to outsource that part, such as cleaning and cooking. And if you can, always find a supportive partner who is understanding and willing to share household and parenting responsibilities with you. An equal relationship always wins. Resisting change. Change is an inevitable force in the love ecosystem, but we often resist it because our brains are wired to seek for safety and maximize energy conservation. But let's not forget that you are evolving every day, and so is your loved one. Whether it is your other half or your child or your parent or sibling, the dynamics are always changing because your priorities and perspectives will change over time. Don't expect to feel that electrifying passion sizzling in the air when you have been together with your partner for years, because the relationship will likely evolve into a deeply rewarding, peaceful, and comfortable state, like the mountains in the Alps. And even then, there are the changes of the seasons which are equally beautiful. And if you're a parent like me, I was not used to seeing my kids growing up so quickly, so my parenting style as well as my mindset need to constantly evolve. There was a time when I used to baby my kids until one of them told me to stop treating him like a baby. Embrace change with open arms because love is not constant. The key is adjust your expectations and adopt a new approach on how to love your loved ones in a way that they accept and can appreciate. Sometimes it could be simply giving them their personal space. Ignoring boundaries. Boundaries are the pillars that uphold trust and respect within the love ecosystem. But we often ignore or trample upon these boundaries or feel too weak to defend our own, causing misunderstandings, pain, and resentment. Learn to respect each other's boundaries, including the freedom for your loved one to live the life that they want and the choices that they want to make. It is like driving. Stay in your lane and you do you. Don't force it on others because it makes the people in it uncomfortable and unhappy. They are not you. If your loved ones ignore your boundaries and always expect you to drop everything and just make time for them whenever they want you, gently remind them that it is not okay. Have a conversation and put them back in their lane. You can compromise, but you should not always be the one giving in every time. If things still fail after repeated efforts, keep a healthy distance to minimize disruption and protect your sanity. At the end of the day, we can only better love others once we learn how to love ourselves. Check out my video here on why being selfish is the first step to loving yourself. I'll see you in my next video. Bye!